We had some of the contractors saying, why are we going to put such a beautiful park in such a low-income place? They're just going to mess it up and, dirty it, trash it and whatnot. And our perspective is that if you build it, they'll come and they'll take care of it. They have ownership and investment in the project and the process. Everybody deserves a beautiful open space.
You're actually stepping onto a project that was designed and built by folks that live right here in this area.
Richmond was a manufacturing town. There's a lot of pollution and poor air quality. We're number 2 in the state for rates of asthma due to the refineries being located here, the Port of Richmond, as well as major freeways.
All throughout my life, there's always been this kind of narrative of Richmond being a dangerous place. In fact, in the last few years, we've been changing that narrative.
Richmond Greenway is a 3.5-mile bicycle pedestrian trail that cuts through some of the poorest neighborhoods in the city of Richmond.
Before the Unity Park project, the Richmond Greenway trail was really surrounded by blight and brownfield on both sides.
Just an empty place, old mattresses and abandoned cars.
And it was really a division between several neighborhoods that many youth wouldn't cross. So building Unity Park really allowed us to connect communities.
The Unity Park planning process began 6 years ago, and the Friends of the Richmond Greenway was invited to sit at the table to create a process in which 17 organizations would come together to talk about what the priorities for this space would be.
It's a 12-acre linear park that's really stretched out, stitching together neighborhoods that had long been alienated from one another. So we made the community design phase really lengthy and really thorough.
We did videos, we did community meetings, we had presentations and planning commissions. We involved our green team in doing some door-to-door canvassing. The green team are high school youth that work with us to help transform the local environment.
Our community engagement process, there wasn't a model for it, so we were really inventing it as we went. We set up design tents right next to people's homes, right along the Richmond Greenway, interrupting their commutes and catching them on their way to school, asking them what they would like to see. And then when residents showed a particular interest or had a particular skill set, they were brought onto the formal design team. So our design team had 57 community residents who had never been involved in building a park before.
These sessions, they'd be 6 to 8 hour sessions, planning sessions and drawing and meetings and events and whatnot. So it's actual time.
And so we paid people prevailing wage for their ideas for a park that was going to land right in their backyard.
And it was cool to see that process and to see folks really establishing a sense of community behind this project. They were excited, like, oh, snap, y'all really care about what we got to say?
We had a community-wide event where there were food and prizes and people could see the vision of what the park would look like. And people would give their feedback on that.
But there was some skepticism about whether or not we'd actually be able to deliver on some of the promises we were making.
We have trust issues in our community because people come in and they say, we're here for the community. And then they'll get grants and they'll get money and they'll drop a little thing and take most of the money and they're gone.
Early on in the project, the city wasn't so sure that the community members would be able to pull this off. Here you have a collaboration between the city of Richmond, contractors, 17 nonprofit organizations, and community members. Not everybody has the same agenda or priorities. And we were called into the city's office and told, okay, you guys need to get your act together. They had a timeline. Ultimately, the director gave us 2 weeks. So we went back into meeting mode. It wasn't always easy, but clearly we got through.
When Unity Park moved into the construction phase, we were able to deliver on this promise that residents and organizations could be paid for work on the project. Groundwork was able to hire half a dozen community residents to work on our forestry crew. And I think all told, the park added up to a $6 million budget, and over $1 million of that went into local community groups and resident wages.
It's a little deeper than just being inclusive, but being intentional about who are the ones that's being paid to do this. And as it started to get close to being done, the community was like, oh, it's done enough for us. So we come out here and there'd be a ton of kids playing on the toys, and the toys would still be covered in black stuff, covered in tarp. and stuff, and the kids be coming down the slides and whatnot. They'll jump the fences. I was like, well, at least we know that they'll use it.
We held the ribbon cutting for Unity Park at our 11th annual Martin Luther King Jr. National Day of Service on the Richmond Greenway.
The mayor came, all the city officials were there. We had over 1,500 people here. It was a really big celebration.
When residents feel safe, they can get out and get exercise.
It promotes healthy living, a healthy lifestyle. Residents in the community can come out and they can get the herbs, fruit, all kinds of vegetables. Our children are more active, our seniors are more active.
My little brother, my nephews, I got somewhere to kick them out the house too, because they want to stay in and play video games all the time. So I would shut it off. No, y'all got a park right up the street. We built it. Go use it.
This partnership between the city of Richmond and local nonprofit organizations and the community is very unique.
We get a chance to be heard out here and really get a chance to control our own story.
We're really getting community input at the ground level. That's a new way of operating for a municipality that we'd like to see modeled throughout the country.
That's why this park is so important. If it would have failed, it would have just been another C. You can't let people do it for themselves because they can't do it for themselves, and we got to step in and do it because we know what's best. When we're showing, Richmond itself is showing the world that we know what's best for us, and we actually are smart enough, gifted enough, talented enough, and skilled enough to do that for ourselves. Just give us opportunity.